regret years I wasted not wanting to go be a wage slave, not really knowing what to do. I don't know. I think in large part, I'm being honest, truth of the matter is I've had, I mean, from a psychiatric or medical standpoint, I haven't got diagnosed, but I mean, I've got like Asperger's. I'm on the spectrum, and I got other kind of problems and stuff too. And I've just lived in a bad fucking environment, like the non-conducive to having a good life or to. And the stress has been just killing me. I don't know, I mentioned the whole rice experiment, the water experiment, and stuff like that a bunch of times. I feel like I'm falling apart. More so since I've been more isolated on my own and stuff. Since my mom died. The world feels so different. Everything feels so different. Like I existed in a whole other world before, and now, I don't know. I got older, and everything was different in a different world, a much crappier world, a darker world, a dangerous world. The part of me that wants to be, when I get drunk, I still fall back into this old part of me that wants to be outgoing or try to make friends or things like that. And it's just a goddamn nightmare. Never go outside, right? I mean, literally just trying to sit on a park bench for too long will lead to conflict, lead to some kind of drama, potentially some kind of situation where I have to get all riled up or fight somebody or get in a shouting match or whatever, right? Can't stay anywhere for very long without some kind of conflict with anyone screwing with you. Got a place, you gotta bar the fucking door and try to be somewhat quiet if you hope to avoid any kind of conflict. Quiet as a mouse, right? Or you gotta go out, get into some shit that just, I mean, because, well, for one thing, if you stand up for yourself, that's how you get a rap sheet longer than your arm. That's how you end up becoming a felon and having to deal with probation officers all the time and ending up in and out of jail all the fucking time. And, that's just even more bullshit and drama you gotta fucking deal with, right? I wasn't meant to be in the damn city. I grew up out in the country. Everyone knew grew up out in the country. my family, everybody I knew, my family, everybody's like, country people and stuff like that, And then everybody moved, and then my mom moved into town here. My dad moved into a bigger town, and I just been stuck around city people. And then my mom moved out to some place where there's like trees, but it's still city people with some trees around. So it's just I've been surrounded by this like uncomfortable situation. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of things, right? Like, if I open my window back in the day, or even with the windows closed, I could hear birds singing. And at night, frogs and crickets, things like that. I'd see deer running through the yard, or coyotes howling, see them off in the distance in the field or whatever. Hear cows mooing, roosters crowing, stuff like that. But for years, instead, it's engines revving, doors slamming, people screaming, sirens blaring, gunshots going, And it's not just the sounds, it's the fucking energy of the place, I'm kind of an empathic or something. It's just, I don't know, I guess there's different kinds of empaths or whatever, and I don't know what you call my kind or whatever, but it's like the worst kind. It's like I'm a fucking sponge for all the goddamn negative energy in my environment or something. Or for the energy in the environment in general. And my environment, why I specifically said negative energy is because my environment has been filled with dark, negative fucking energy for so many years. Because I'm in a city environment, and that's how it is in the fucking cities and shit, I mean, even people who have like a house, even if you got a 2-story house and a 2-car garage in a city with a house right next to it and a house on the other side right next to that, right? And you got a backyard and everything. Even if you have that, which you have to have a lot of fucking money to have that nowadays. Compared to me, you'd have to be fucking rich or something to have something like that nowadays. I paid my rent, bought some parts for the car, and put some gas in my car. And I've got $9 in the bank right now. And I gotta go in tomorrow to get my car fixed. To get people to put the parts in for $50 is what they said they'd charge me if I brought my own parts. So I have to dig myself deeper in credit debt to do that, and try to go make some deliveries in hopes of at least getting some of that money back or something. But then I'll have, if I don't want to further the amount of debt that I keep sinking into with my bank, then I should put that back and pay it towards the debt or something, But then, of course, gasoline costs money. But the delivery count these delivery apps don't seem to acknowledge that gas costs money, or that you have to pay people for their time, or anything like that. That seems to be something that they've forgotten in the last, say, 6 or 7 months or something. They've been like, well, actually, we don't have to pay anyone anything, or we compensate them for their fucking work and their gas and so on. Now, I can tell you how much time is wasted where I could be, shopping for and delivering orders one after another, like I did before, when they actually paid a reasonable amount that wasn't ridiculous, and when the orders weren't so, the other parameters of the orders weren't so ridiculous, like back before they started being like, hey, we want you to go to this store 20 miles away to shop for the things for the person that's a half a mile away from the identical store that you're parked right in front of. Or, hey, we want you to go we're going to offer you, all these orders that involve you having to drive a 50-mile round trip to make fucking $12 or some shit. Yeah. Like, no. Or then if you turn on the regular, like, food apps like Uber or DoorDash, well, then it's like, hey, actually, we'd like you to go drive 15 miles away to drop off this cheeseburger, and we'll give you $3. Like, no. Oh no, your ratings are going down now. You're bad. How dare you not accept the orders? Uh-huh. Oh, my car's running like shit. It's been running crappy for a while, but then it got worse. Not sure what happened. Maybe the spark plug was fucked, and the coil was still okay. And then the spark plug became like way too fucked, and the coil blew out too, or something. Because something is very not good currently. So get that fixed tomorrow, and like, I hope freaking God that fixes the problem and there's no more fucking problems. I really don't need more goddamn bills. I keep getting hit with more. I get a fucking post office wants another $115 or some shit now. I swear, there's no way. It doesn't feel like there's any way it could have been 6 months ago. Last time I paid it. Feels like it's only been like a couple of months maybe or something. And they're like, give us more money. Ugh. Boy, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Tons of fucking fun, eh? Oh boy. You're fucking having a ball. Can't you tell? I don't know, man. The level of like stress of all this bullshit, all this evil winning out constantly, and all the disappointment and all the bullshit and all the drama and all the just nonsense over the years. I feel like had to be defensive all the fucking time, or hide in my cave or something to avoid bullshit and insanity. All these goddamn years, man. Hell, I'm worried about my health even too. Not just my mental health, my physical health and shit. been like I guess going on 4 years since my mom died or something. I had like bright red facial hair at the time, and was like glowing skin, somewhat more healthy and everything. Oh, I don't know. I was a little overweight. But no, I'm just saying that like now I've got like all these white hairs and stuff in my beard and some on my head and stuff too, and you know, which the ones on my head probably are you'd have to look close to notice or something probably. Pretty damn obvious on my face though. One of the reasons I've been shaving all the time. I think I might just let it grow for a while. Again. I don't know, man. When I talk about like being in a stressful environment, right? I'm talking about like feeling like I always have to be like I'm in a situation where my surroundings are fucking not safe, to be clear. And like I gotta be Mr. Billy Badass or some shit just to try to, keep from being fucking attacked or something. I broke several bones in my foot tripping over a rock like a few years ago. And the next day I was like, I'm just gonna walk on it, not use a crutch. Can't be showing weakness. Hell, I broke several bones in my hand punching a freezer like years back. Or like 2019 or some shit. And I never wore the fucking brace for my hand. Never had to put a cast on it or any kind of shit like that. I just went on and used my hand. Because I just have this sense that like I'm surrounded by danger, show signs of weakness, and the wolves are prowling around watching, just waiting, just waiting for you to look to get distracted, just waiting for you to look injured or something. I don't know how the hell to get ahead economically. I mean, I guess I just fucking make a plan out of somehow living in my car. But I mean, I guess I have to adapt and learn how to be like an NPC or something. I don't know. I don't know how people do it. How homeless people, how a lot of these people out on the streets and shit, how they do it. They run around and doing shit all day, and like how the fuck do they even hardly get any sleep or get anything done, right? You live in a world that's so intolerant of even allowing people to sleep unless they paid $1,000 or $2,000 a month for the privilege to be able to sleep. And that basically counts even if you're talking about renting a campsite. Yeah. Or living in a motel room or whatever. You can get the shittiest, cheapest ass motel room around. It's still costs more than a cheap ass apartment, or costs more than what renting a house used to cost, even just a few years ago. I blew all my fucking pretty much $50,000 living in a fucking motel in a short time because I couldn't get into an apartment. They didn't care that I had, they could show them a bank printout from the bank showing that I had that much money in my bank. Nope. They're like, nope. Sorry, we need a credit score and all its rental history and blah, blah, blah. And all this other shit. So I had to be broke and so on and so forth, right? Before I could even get into a place, basically, and only because I was out being a good little wage slave or whatever, and doing really well for a while, making deliveries, which was the only way I even got into anywhere. I don't know, man. I don't know why the hell so many people are moving to Oregon. I mean, if you're thinking about moving to Oregon, uh, just don't like run away. I mean, yeah, okay, the trees are pretty and stuff in the summertime. You've got a good 3, 4 months of daylight before it's raining and shitty all the time, or looks like some. Remember that show, Tales from the Dark Side? It's like. There is a world brightly lit, but there is another world, a dark side. Like that's what this place is. Like the majority of the year. I mean, that might be about to end for this year, at least for a while. So get a good. I mean, next month is April, so that's like starts to get better, and then get into like May, June, July, August. Decent, pretty good. Well, I mean, sunshine, but it's still like a weird. It's I don't know, mutant tweaker zone. If you go sit outside in if you're in a town anywhere in Oregon, basically, or at least anywhere in Oregon that I've been around, nowadays, if you just sit down in a chair somewhere for a while outside, and vape, smoke a cigarette, whatever, mind your own business, you know, sit out there for half an hour, or whatever, and you'll see like psychotic tweakers shouting at the sky. Uh, Maybe see people smoking meth or shooting up. You'll smell pot smoke, guaranteed. And people walking by, there'll be, you'll probably see like a dude in a dress with a mustache and makeup on or something. Dude in a dress with lipstick on that's got a mustache or something. Or maybe multiple of those sort of things. A lot of multicolored hair and people who look just not quite right or something. Lots and lots of druggies, psychotic shit. You'll probably see some fight breaking out, people screaming at each other. It's kind of like the hood or something, basically. Like the whole fucking state, basically, is kind of like the hood, you know? Or how the hood is portrayed, back in the day, back in like the movies and shit. People out sitting on the stoop and yelling at each other, and fights break out in the street, and people getting high. Somebody walking down the street like crack, 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 want some crack, crack, crack. That's basically what this place is, man. But then there's this whole other dimensional shift, right? When you get out into the country, when you get like, but these, yeah, there's like good and bad here, right? Like, and they exist side by side, right? You've got you've got like the environment that I described is like the city. That's where the grocery stores and the bars and all that shit is, or whatever, and whatever. And then you go 10, 12 miles, or 8 miles, however far, out into some area in the country. Maybe not even that far in some instances. And then you're surrounded by fields and trees and, cattle, sheep and horses and, you know, chickens and, geese and, all these nice houses, and people are, living these wonderful lives out there, basically, because they've got money. But then you get into the city, and I don't know, there's people in town, obviously, that have a lot of money, which really makes you wonder, like, what the fuck are they thinking? Like, why would anyone with the kind of money to have a fucking house like that or whatever choose to live in a house that's got another house like 6 feet away from it on either side, you know? Or what, more or less. I've got a really nice house, but I still have to hear cars zooming past and sirens and shit, and, still got, you know, tweakers mobbing past the front of my house in the middle of the night, Like, why would anyone want to live in this? I don't know. It's weird. I don't want to live out in the country on some acres, Put a big tall fucking fence around it and a big tall gate on the fucking driveway, and have some big dogs running around, and you know, need a buffer zone from this world, to have any peace, basically. You stuck in a damn city, it's fucking Orwellian or Huxleyan fucking nightmare or whatever. Got a smartwatch in the mail today. A cheapo one off of eBay. Pretty cool. You can get it for like $30 on eBay. Got a flashlight. Link it to your phone, and you can like make phone calls, get phone calls, see like notification texts and stuff like that on it. And the weather. Got a calculator and a compass, and like all these health monitor things, like the fitness. It's got all the sort of shit that like a Fitbit would have, or all that kind of shit. heart rate, blood oxygen levels, step counter, all that shit. Stress monitor. Gee, stress level high. You think? I don't know. People can be at peace with that. I don't know. I guess a lot of people kind of grew up in a city and somehow they adapted, or they were. It just feels like home to them or something. I don't know. Like they never lived out in the country. They never knew. They don't know what it's like to like wake up and and you open the window and there's all these birds singing. Yeah. Or to like, it gets dark outside and you just open up the window, you're hearing like all these frogs and crickets singing at night, and you know they, they don't know that, right? Or they don't see like the difference between living in an environment like that where there's no revving engines and no, you know, none of that shit going on, no screaming and fights breaking out, and none of that, you know, no sirens wailing, just frogs, crickets, birds chirping, cows mooing, peace, serenity. And then there's all, these like nice people. Usually, I mean, not everybody out there's nice. There's scummy people that are out, managed to be out there too, but there's like a lot of nice people out there. It's more like probably predominantly like pretty nice people. Well, they're happy people, see? Because they live in an environment like that, see? And they've got money and, all that kind of, right? And you gotta have a fair amount of money to live in an environment like that nowadays. There's just so many years being surrounded by like anger and stress and conflict, and I'm not saying life in the country is perfect or something. I mean, especially I imagine if you moved, I imagine you moved to some place out in the country or nobody fucking knows you and shit, and most of the people live there their whole lives, and you're some person from out of town coming around. You might not, depending on where you are, you might not feel all that welcome or like you fit in there or anything. Possible, but on the other hand, you've got acres of land with birds singing and all that kind of shit, right? You don't have to be closely surrounded in close proximity with people that with all the noise, basically all the noise, the psychic noise and the audible noise, and the sort of psychically energetic noise of like all you know what I mean. And my relationship with my dad is pretty freaking strained. I keep trying to talk to him and stay in touch with him and stuff like that, but he's so out of touch with reality because he's lived in sort of a nice. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't have years where he busted his ass at work and all that kind of stuff, and had stress busting his ass at work and stuff. But it's one thing to bust your ass at work and come home to a house and land and family and all that kind of shit, versus to go do that and not not have that. I mean, like, the juice isn't worth the squeeze these days. It used to be. Yeah, see, that's the thing with it. The boomers never get right. I mean, lots of them work jobs that suck. They're like, you just suck it up. Well, that's because when they worked the job that sucked or whatever, they got a house and land and had to raise a family and, built a comfortable life for themselves where they'd be comfortable into old age and everything. And they lived through, relatively, much safer times and saner times. By the time things started getting really, really crazy, they're already like out in the country on their land in a nice, comfortable house with a comfortable chair and a comfortable bed and a couple of dogs and, you know. All their kids are left behind in some city with like crackheads wandering around, or and like I mean, there's not a bunch of drive-by shootings, but it's not like Compton or something, but it's still like the hood, basically. Just a different type of hood. I don't know. With different areas and stuff, but I don't know, man. I don't need. Right now, I need to figure out to get some job to go be a wagey or whatever. I need to get money together to be able to pay off my debts and cover bills and all that. I don't want to fuck my credit score up and keep digging myself into debt that I can't get out of. But I got to find a way to make enough money to handle that, and ultimately hope to be able to get out of here to get somewhere else. I don't know if I mean, at some point, maybe I might want to consider intentionally moving into my car so I can actually cover the goddamn bills and start keeping more of the money that I make, and instead of having to watch it all disappear instantly. I mean, literally, this morning I had like, I went to the bank, put money in after getting, no, this was before getting gas, okay. And I had like $980 in the bank. And I thought I had more than I do, but then I went and looked, and like I have $9 in there now because I paid my rent and got some parts for my car, and I put a little gas in the car, like I had half a tank or something, and that's that. I know that sounds like cheap bills or something, but not with what I'm making, with my expenses and shit like that. I got other, it's just some bills. Post office wants another 115 freaking, storage facilities about to hit me for another 120, and goddamn, and I don't know. We'll see what the hell the electric company decides to hit me with next, and so on and so forth. And hope to God nothing else fucking goes out with my fucking car every time I start to get ahead a little bit or manage to make it a little bit. Some fucking more shit fucking is a problem. Just can't seem to find any goddamn stability for any length of time. I don't know, I've had months where it seemed to be okay and have some level of stability, but it seems like those times are over, man. I haven't had one fucking month where I've managed to be able to make the bills by myself without needing help, and fuck, how long has it been? 5, 6 months or something? 4, 5, 6 months without needing to go, Dad, help. And then, or having to like fucking dig myself into credit debt or something to pay the goddamn bills, again. I know I've got to get my car running good, you know. I should think of that as like even more important than the rent, more important than, because, if the car is running okay, then running good, then at least I've got transportation, I've got some degree of shelter, I've got a way to make some money. Just not really enough, though, you know. If I had some steady girlfriend that was awesome or something and put up with my ass or whatever, get along with somebody. They could get along with somebody. Split bills or something. Or if I had some kind of goddamn, social SSI or, something, or hell, if I even just could still get shit sold like I used to, man. I used to be able to hustle, and, it was like easy to sell shit on Craigslist, back in the day. I find all kinds of shit, cheap. Used to find shit cheap, yard sales, thrift stores, stuff like that. Even stuff people were throwing away, stuff sitting all inside the road, and I'd fucking sell it. Well, one of the big problems now is it makes it difficult to like sell things. It's like the storage facility that I have, right, has like super serious security, which is, I guess, supposed to make us feel safe, like our shit's not going to get stolen. But I think the truth of the matter is they got all that fucking security so that to try to keep us out. Like, so if we don't, if we, we could pay to store our stuff there, like thousands and thousands of dollars just for a place to put our stuff for years and years and years. But if we miss one payment, they're gonna steal all our shit, auction it off, and fucking pocket every dime, right? Shit. Just gotta make myself keep going up. I gotta lay off the damn drink and just. I'm sorry, it's a little stressful. Endless bills, endless wars, endless psychotic bullshit going on all around me. Endless fucking poverty, endless just crazy, crazy, crazy shit going on. Like, satanic pedophiles run everything. Aliens are real. World War III. And now a blood moon on 3:33 in the morning. Ooh, well, a bunch of fucking people are being bombed to shit. Some kind of like goddamn, fucking revelation. Another chapter of Revelations is playing out today. Oh, gotta go to work. Fuck. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet already. Oops. Those darned Iranians blew up the Dome of the Rock. Now we're just gonna have to build our third temple. Oh well. Right? Wait for it. Wait for it. Any second now? Yeah, probably. It was the Iranians. Don't worry, I know I'm not giving them any ideas that they don't already have. This will be great. We can do our blood sacrifices right here. What's wrong with the other blood sacrifice places? We could still sacrifice people there, No, sacrifice animals and people everywhere. The more sacrifices, the better. Sky Daddy will be very happy. Uh, what do you think this fucking war is? On the fucking weird blood moon thing, the 33s everywhere. Oh my god. Good times, eh?